Hey, Rebecca here from Blister Prevention. In this video I'm going to show you how to use the two rectangle patches that you get in the ENGO Rectangle Pack. These are ENGO's biggest patches, so if you've got big areas that need protection, these are the ones for you. I'll show you where they fit and exactly how to use them to get the best results for your blisters. Okay, let's get into this. Where can you put them? The classic type of blister that the rectangle patches are used for is blisters under the ball of the foot. Most people get away with using the large oval patches for these. They're smaller than the rectangle patches, but usually enough. However, sometimes you just need larger coverage for bigger or wider blisters. At 9.5 centimeters wide or 3.7 inches, they'll cover the whole forefoot in small to medium sized shoes. Of course, it's always important to make sure you're putting the patch in the right spot. Rather than just guessing, take your insole out, stand on it, and mark the outer margins of your blister area. Use a pen to make sure of it or eyeball it very carefully. Then place your patch so your blister will be right in the middle. And the patch needs to extend about 1 centimeter further on all sides to allow the natural movement of bones when you walk and run. 1 centimeter, that's about ½ an inch extra on all sides for adequate coverage. Now, if you've got really big feet and need full width coverage right across the ball of the foot, a single rectangle patch isn't going to be wide enough. If you're not sure, get your ruler out and measure the width of your insole. You know these patches are 9.5 centimeters wide or 3.7 inches across. So if your insole is wider than that, you'll need an extra patch. You can use an offcut of an additional ENGO rectangle patch like this, or you could use a large oval patch alongside it. It all depends on where you need your protection. Alternatively, if you need big coverage but not full coverage across the width of the foot, just prioritise that area. So if it's the central metatarsal heads, you can place it centrally. Or if it's the big toe side of the foot that gets blisters, not the little toe side, prioritise that area. So your patch placement might look something like this. To be honest, it's a good idea to only cover the area that needs it. Just make sure you've got that extra 1 centimeter on all sides to allow for adequate coverage. Another situation where rectangles are perfect is when you've got two adjacent areas that blister. The most common of these is the big toe and the first forefoot joint. A bunion or a stiff big toe often sees blisters in these two areas. These blisters are almost always edge blisters. Edge blisters are blisters whose origins correspond to the edge of the insole and where it meets the side of the shoe, right at that transition from horizontal to vertical. Now, you might be tempted to place one rectangle patch over the whole area, but I'd suggest that you don't for 3 reasons. Firstly, there's no way you'll get it on without folds and creases. Secondly, you won't be able to remove your insole. And most importantly, if your insole is padded and compresses with each step that you take, like most of them are, that patch is going to be dragged down the side of the shoe with every step that you take, and it will dislodge prematurely. Instead, use a rectangle patch on the horizontal insole surface and a separate patch on the vertical shoe surface. This is called the 2-patch technique. Let me show you how I do it, step by step. Step 1, take your insole out and stand on it. Place the rectangle patch, cutting the excess off with scissors. Step 2, pop your insole back in your shoe and mark on the shoe where the patch starts and finishes. Step 3, now you need to use those markers to place your shoe patch. So take the insole out and place your shoe patch accordingly. A full rectangle patch on the shoe surface is going to be far too big and a bit of a waste. The cutoff that you just trimmed, that's probably going to be too small. So you could cut another rectangle in half and use that, absolutely. However, I prefer to use large ovals instead, like this. You'll need 2 of them to span the dimensions of the rectangle patch, and you'll need to overlap them like I have here, which is completely fine to do. Put the furthest one on first, followed by the closer one. That's the way I do it, and it works really well. Why the large ovals? Well, it's just a fact that the smaller the patch and the more rounded the corners, the easier it is to apply without creases to those bendy, contoured areas of your shoe like this. The further into your shoe you get, the trickier it becomes at applying the patches neatly. It's simply a matter of access and visibility. Absolutely take the laces right out to maximize access. That's very smart. But whatever way you choose to do it, make sure your patches line up so you're protected right along that edge, because it's only the length of where those two patches meet that you're protected from these blisters. Okay, let's get out of that tricky toe area of the shoe and talk about blisters around the heel and ankle. For classic back of heel blisters, ENGO has specially designed heel patches in the ENGO heel pack. They're great for your standard running shoes, cleats, casual and dress shoes, because it's very clear where the patch needs to go and they'll give you all the protection you need. But in boots, like work boots and even skates and ski boots, for example, it's less obvious and sometimes there's a bit more movement of the foot in the boot. A rectangle gives more certainty that you've got the right area covered. As always, put your boot on, feel for where your irritation is and mark it. You can mark the spot on the inside or outside of the shoe, whatever feels easiest for you to place that patch. Remember, your blister area needs to be right in the middle with at least 1 centimetre on all sides for adequate protection. Before you place your patch, here's a pro tip. If your boot is kind of padded and contoured around the heel or ankle bones, or wherever you're applying this patch, my advice is to round the edges of that rectangle patch so it looks more like an oval shape. The reason is big square or rectangular patches go best on big flat surfaces. By rounding the corners, you're making it much easier to apply your patch to this contoured area without creating folds and creases that may ultimately irritate your skin further. So keep that little trick in mind, it may come in very handy. The other thing I need to mention for patches in this back part of the shoe is you need to protect the top of the patch as you push your foot down and into the shoe or boot. The last thing you want to do is have your sock catch the top of the patch and drag it down. When you do this again and again, your patch is going to loosen and you'll just have to replace it sooner than you should. So be sure to undo your laces adequately and even use your fingertips to protect the top of the patch as you push your foot in and down. Okay, that's about it for ENGO's largest patches, the rectangle patches. Now keep in mind, I haven't spent the appropriate amount of time in these videos pressing the patches on to achieve maximum adhesion. And that's just for the sake of brevity, of course. So be sure to read the instructions inside the packet to find out more. That maximum initial adhesion is really important to achieve for the longevity of your patches. ENGO patches are my go-to friction management strategy for blister prevention and blister treatment. I love them and I use them myself every day. The blue polytetrafluoroethylene or PTFE surface is known to exhibit extremely low friction, as you can see here. They're not going to change the way your shoe fits because they're very thin. In fact, you won't even notice they're there. But in saying that, they're extremely durable. They're not going to wear through for at least 300 miles or roughly 500 Ks. They truly are unbeatable for long-lasting friction management. So that's a quick once-over of the ENGO rectangle patches. Are these the patches for you? If they are, you can grab your ENGO rectangle pack or combo pack from our online store today. We ship weekdays from both Australia and the US and we're always fully stocked. Until next time, take care.